Algebra 2. What's going on? I did not put the video on last week for Chapter 3, Lesson 1, but I'm doing it this week, so if you need to review it, this will be the stuff that we're going over. I'm going to put 3, 1, and 3 up right now. So the first one, Chapter 3 has to deal with functions, and so we're first going to start off by talking about domain and range. And the thing to know about functions, what makes something a function, is that there's only one x value for each y value. So basically, you cannot have repeating x values. When I give you coordinates, you can't have the same x value. Or also, we call it the vertical line test. If I give you a shape like this, if I were to take my marker and go across vertically, there's no place where it hits it twice. So this would be a function. But if I were to give you a graph like this, this would not be a function because this does not pass the vertical line test. Because, again, if I were to do a dotted line going down, there's a x value. Let's say this was x -1. There's a point here, and so two different y values for the same x value. So that would not work. So, again, only one x value for every y value. So again, this is called the vertical line test to see if it's a function or not. Since it would hit twice, this would not be a function. So, the first type of problems that we did had to do with coordinates. So if I said -2, 1, 5, 3, 6, -2, and 5, 9. Now I'm going to ask you to find the domain. Okay, I'll write it here. Find the domain and range. And not only that, is this a function? Is it a function? Okay? So to find the domain, what that means, domain, is x values. Range is y values. Okay? Domain, x values, range, y values. So I take my x values right here. I'm going to list them out. What I'm going to do is put them in numerical order, least to greatest. So my domain is going to be -2. 5 would be my next one. Since there's two of them, I don't have to write it twice. I can just write it once. 5, and lastly 6. So that's my domain. My range, I'm going to take my y values. I have -2 as my smallest one. Then I have 1, 3, and 9. 1, 3, 9. Now, this is a proper way to state domain, range, and it also says, is it a function? Notice here we have 2 5s in the x position. If that's the case, this is not a function. No. Is it a function? No, because there are 2 5s in the x position. Okay? So again, you cannot have repeating x values. So let's do another set of points. Same set of directions. Find the domain and range and state if it's a function or not. Okay? So we have 1, 6, 3, -2, and -1, 6. So your domain, again, x values. 1, 3, -1. So we're going to put them in numerical order. -1, +1, 3. Our range, 6, -2, and 6. So it's -2, 6. Now the question is this a function? This does have repeating y values, but that's okay as long as the x values don't repeat. So in this case, yes, this is a function. Okay? Yes, this is a function because there are no repeating x values. Now, there are also problems on your homework, okay, where it just gives you coordinates. Okay? We didn't do this example in class, but I still want to do it for you in here so you know how to do these problems. Okay? So if I give you a point here, put a point here, one right here, and also down here. If I say find the domain, find the range, notice these, I'm not connecting the dots. They're just single dots, single points at those locations. So the first thing you want to do is just list them out. So this coordinate here is -2, +2. This coordinate is -1, -1, back 1, down 1. This one is 0, up 1. This one is over 3, down 2. So that's a +3. And then -2, down 2. So now we need to find the domain. Again, you're just putting your x coordinates. A good way to do this is start from one side to the next. So my lowest one is -2. The next one over is -1. The next one over that is 0. Then after that, it's 3. So that would be my domain. And my range goes from lowest to highest. My lowest one is -2. My next highest is -1. Up to 1. And then 2. Again, range goes from lowest to highest. And if it's just points, you're just going to put those coordinates and then list the domain and range. Since there are no repeating x values on this one, this is a function. Yes, it is. Okay? One more type of problem, and that'll be the end of this lesson. Okay? This doesn't really erase that well anymore. Alright, so the next one is actually a graph where we do connect the dots. And you have to keep in mind the open circle, closed circle, when we did the or equal to's. So if I draw a graph here, okay, so the first point is going to be right here. Okay, the next one is right here. If I were to connect these dots like this, I want you to find the domain, range, and tell me if it's a function. Well, again, the domain is all possible x values. And now when it's connected, therefore any x value we're talking about is in between our far left to far right. So we're going to state it that way. Our furthest left x value is -3, so we're talking about domain. But it's not filled in, so it's actually getting infinitely close to -3, but it cannot equal. So we just put -3 is less than x, because it's not, or equal to. And it keeps going all the way until you get to +3. And again, open circle. Now our range goes from lowest to highest. So the lowest point, lowest y value on this graph is at -1. And since it's filled in, we do the or equal to, lowest to highest. And the highest we have is at 2. And it's open circle, so there you have it. So it's less than, but not or equal to. So that's how you find domain and range if I show you a graph. Now, is it a function? Well, this would pass the vertical line test. Notice that there's no point where it crosses my hand twice. So yes, this is a function. Okay? So that's 3.1. I hope you understood that, and I hope it makes sense to you. And yeah, good luck with that, even though most of you have already done the homework. So, good luck.